Okay, and lastly for the console games, before I move on to the handheld stuff, I have Rhythm Heaven Fever here for the Wii. This was one of my most anticipated games for the console because I absolutely loved the first Rhythm Heaven for the DS. And man, what a fun game this is. It's so challenging, but essentially what this is it's a collection of about 50 mini-games, I think they tell you in here. Yeah, about 50 mini-games, and it's not a waggle game. You don't use the Wii remote, moving it around in any way. You simply just use the A and the B button to do different rhythms to the game. So they'll give you usually a static screen with a different beat or a rhythm with different characters every time, and you have to either press the A button to the beat of the rhythm or the A and the B button at the same time, alternate. It sounds really simplistic, which it is, but there's just something so addictive about this game. It's really quirky. It's got a great charm to it. Really different visual style, I guess you can say. Really just a clean look to it. And it's hard. I am on the second remix. Essentially, there's different remixes. There's 5 mini-games, and then at the end they remix all 5 of them together into a remix where they use all different elements from all 5 mini-games in one. And those are really fun, because they change up the music, the visual style. I am stuck on the second remix. I've tried it a few times, and I can't get by it. This game is tough, okay? So fans of music rhythm games and stuff like that, if you think you've played them all, you've played Guitar Hero, you've played the Taiko no Tatsujin games and stuff like that, give this a try if you've never played the series before. I think you'll really enjoy it. Okay, next up is a game for the PSP, and that is Hakuoki, Demon of the Fleeting Blossom. Now this game here is really interesting, because, it looks like your typical limited edition RPG. What this is here, actually, it's the first of its kind to be released on a US system. And this is a visual novel, but it's not just your typical visual novel. It was a game that was released in Japan to appeal to girls, because, let me just read you the back of the story of this game. In Hakuoki, a young woman by the name of Chizuru comes to Kyoto in search of her missing father, and soon encounters danger and the Shinsengumi in quick succession. When it becomes clear the Shinsengumi are also searching for her father, Chizuru is put under their protection. But odd things are afoot in Kyoto, possibly even supernatural things. Can Chizuru navigate this maze of moral danger and political intrigue? Amidst so much mystery and death, can she find romance? So yes, this is a visual novel that emphasizes romance with other male characters, but before you think I'm like crazy for buying this game, I read into it before I bought it, obviously. And from what I read, the game really downplays the romance thing, and it's more of like a really hardcore samurai war story. If any of you have ever played 999 on the DS, and you know how well the writing is in that, in terms of like the death scenes in that game, how they describe it without visuals and just words, kind of think that in a samurai setting. Because when this girl first comes to Kyoto, and these samurai guys, she sees something she's not supposed to see. They want to kill her. They're describing what they're going to do to her. It's a pretty dark story. And I've played a couple of hours of it so far, and, it's not like a lovey-dovey, silly game. It is a visual novel where you play as a female main character. As soon as people think of a romance game in Japan, they think of, like, the craziest stuff out there. But this game is far from it. It's actually got a really interesting story. But keep in mind, and the writing's good, the characters are really, they're getting fleshed out as time goes on. But keep in mind, this is not really a game. This is a visual novel. So the amount of interaction you have in this game is simply every once in a while you're given a choice to say, do one thing or the other or the other. Do you want to go with this character to this location? You want to go with this guy to that location? And the choices that you pick actually highly impact the story and where it goes from there. So for example, one of the choices you're given is, do you want to go with these guys to go to this village because they want to look for trouble over there? There's supposed to be some trouble. Do you want to follow them, or do you want to stay in, the secluded little enclosure village that you're in and, be with some other people there to talk to them? So the interactions are actually pretty dramatic in terms of the outcome. But like I was saying, it's a visual novel, so there's an encyclopedia to look up words in here that you're not too sure on. And you can fast forward, rewind, save, and that's about it. It's like you're reading a book with music, which is not remarkable, by the way, and visuals. The visuals are a little underwhelming. They don't really use too many still images. For the most part, you're looking at just character portraits or really boring backgrounds. And it is voice acted, but it's not translated. It's in the original Japanese. But I would definitely recommend this. those of you out there that know you wouldn't be into something like this, just avoid it at all costs. But if you think this sounds interesting, I'd say definitely give it, pick it up, give it a try. I'm just going to go through these here really quick because I have not played them. I did get a PSP 3000 though, so I can finally play a PSP that doesn't weigh 10 pounds, and I can finally hook it up to my TV and record PSP footage now if I want to, because the original 1000 can't do that. But for the PSP, I got Hot Shots Golf Open T2, Valkyria Chronicles 2, Dissidia Duodecim. This is the one I'm most excited to finally have and play because it's actually kind of hard to get a hold of, and that's Hexy's Force. This is a game developed by Sting, and I'm a huge fan of Riviera, The Promised Land, as well as their other games, but I really enjoy Riviera the most. The Third Birthday, Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, Monokemia, Final Fantasy IV The Complete Collection, and that's it for PSP, so I got them all for a really good price, so when I get the chance to play them, I will do so. For the 3DS, I picked up Shinobi, and this game is really fun. It does feel, it makes some changes. I didn't really play too much of the original Shinobi games, so I can't really say I'm a hardcore fan of the series to compare this to, but I'm really enjoying it. It's definitely challenging. It's one of those games where you have to replay the levels multiple times to get the enemy patterns down, because it's very challenging. Couple hits and you die, you fall off a ledge, you die. It's definitely got a learning curve to it. You have to learn how to parry attacks, to dodge, to jump right at the right time. But it's definitely really rewarding because the levels are long, so when you finally do complete a level, it feels really rewarding moving on to the next stage to learn it all over again. Sometimes they do introduce, because it's on the 3DS, they introduce areas where it's not 2D side-scrolling anymore, and instead it shifts into this sort of isometric 3D view where you're, say, riding on a horse, you're riding on a tank or something, or a jeep, and you're chasing after this big vehicle that's shooting missiles at you. Those elements tend to drag on a little bit long, and they're pretty boring, so if it was just a side-scroller, this game would be actually really, really good. But I feel that those other elements that they introduce into it, they drag on too long, and they actually detract from the experience. But if you're a fan of old-school 2D side-scrollers, I would say definitely give Shinobi a look. And next, you guys know, if you watch my top 10 games of 2012, this game was on there, and that's Cave Story 3D. I've never played Cave Story before this version, and I have to say, man, I can't believe I waited this long to finally play it. But I was blown away by this game. What an amazing game. Let me just say, if you're a fan of old-school Metroid games, old-school side-scrolling platformers, man, seek this game out at all costs. It's really a lot of fun. It's challenging. It's got a great soundtrack. The visual style is really good. Now, I have not played the original, so I can't compare it to the original graphics, because this one, they put it into a 3D environment, and I really like it. I think the 3D is really good on this game. Story-wise, it's very mysterious. Like, you don't really know exactly what's going on when you first start playing it. But as time goes on, you start to put the puzzle pieces together with all the wacky characters and everything. But if you have a 3DS, if you could pick this game up, definitely go for it. Alright, and next up are the PS Vita games I picked up. I'm going to go through these pretty fast because I've either done a review on them or I plan on doing a review on them. And I probably will do a video on the PS Vita itself coming up here. So, first up is Wipeout 2048. I did do a review on this, so definitely check out that video for my full impressions. But in short, this is one of the best games you could pick up for the Vita at launch. It looks amazing. Fans of racing games, this is definitely your best option as of right now. It's got a really great futuristic feel to it. Everything from the music to the graphics to the controls, everything really works. The online mode works as well, so definitely a great game. Next is Hot Shots Golf World Invitational. I picked this one up on a whim because I've never played the Hot Shots Golf series before, and I ended up really liking this. At first it was really hard because despite looking like a game for kids or something, this game is in-depth. Like, wow, the amount of stuff that you have to take into consideration before you hit that golf ball, the wind, the trajectory of like the ball, which way it's going to go. There's like 10 different shots you can do on the ball. It's insane. And it's all kind of spiced up with an anime, really colorful world. It's a really good looking game as well. I haven't had a chance to play the online in this yet, but so far the single player, I've beat the first, I guess, championship, I guess you can say. So I'm on to the second tournament. I don't know what you'd call it, but I'm maybe like 3 hours into the game so far, and I'm enjoying it. Dungeon Hunter Alliance. I did do a review on this as well, so you can definitely check that out. This is actually probably my most played PS Vita game, only because of the type of game it is, and that's a dungeon crawl game with 4-player online. To me, I love those kind of games, and Yes, the game does have a lot of problems, but it does do a lot of things right, you know. If you just like going into dungeons, looting things, getting new items, experience, leveling up, putting in new skills, you'll probably absolutely love this game. And the online just makes it that much better. But it's got a lot of problems. $40 worth? No. But if you can get this game for $25 or under, I'd say go for it. I have not played this yet, believe it or not, and that's a little deviance. Only because I want to finish up some of the games I got here first before I move on to this. But it's just a collection of mini games that highlight all the different features of the Vita, so I'll get around to playing that sometime. Touch my Katamari here. This will probably be my next review coming up, and this essentially, if you like the old Katamari games, just rolling around that ball, collecting stuff, making it as big as you can get, you'll enjoy this. It introduces the touchscreen in terms of you can stretch the Katamari horizontal or vertical to pick up different objects in different ways. And it's fun, you know, it's just still got that really over-the-top quirky style to it. If you hated the other Katamari games, you'll absolutely hate this game as well, because it's even more weird than usual. But if you enjoy the series, I think you'll really enjoy this game. Here is my favorite Vita title so far, and that's Lumines Electronic Symphony. I also did a review for this, you can check that out. But man, what an amazing game this is. If you're a fan of puzzle games, you have to check this out. Or if you're a fan of just games that, you know, have a really flashy style to them, great soundtrack, great visual style to it, you have to get this game. I'm telling you, this is one of the best games on the Vita launch that not too many people probably picked up, and it's a shame. It's so addictive. You can play this game for hours on end. I try not to do that. I try to play it, you know, one session at a time. But I'm telling you, if you have a Vita, check out Lumines. Check out my review as well. Okay, and Uncharted Golden Abyss. I actually haven't dived into this too much. I'm maybe about 2 hours in, and I have to say one thing. This game looks amazing. The first area in this game, in the jungle, wow. It looks better than the first Uncharted on the PS3. It looks incredible. Gameplay-wise, you know, it works. It's Uncharted on a handheld, and control-wise, it takes a lot of getting used to in terms of aiming and everything like that. But once you have it down, it's Uncharted on the handheld. But the only thing that I'm still trying to get used to and like is the stuff that they introduced with the touchscreen, you know, where if you do melee combat, you have to swipe on the screen, you know, swipe bamboo that's in your way. There's a lot of it in here. It doesn't ruin the game, but it's definitely not necessary. It almost feels like a roadblock to like the fast action in this game. And the only reason I don't like it, and some of it is optional, but the stuff that's not optional in terms of the touchscreen, I don't like having to take my whole hand off of the system to do this when I'm just trying to lay down and relax and play. I kind of want to just lay there, play my Vita. I don't want to have to, you know, as lazy as it sounds, but it's kind of uncomfortable to have to do that. Now, some of you out there might say, but hey, what about the DS? You had to do all that silly stuff with that when it first came out. Yes, but the DS's design was more compact. The Vita is huge. So the fact that, you know, I can't easily reach my finger over, you know, like let's just say I'm playing and I want to, you know, I wish I had my Vita by me, but let's just say I'm playing and I'm holding the Vita and I want to just reach my finger over to touch the touchscreen. You really can't do that because the thing is so huge. You have to take your whole hand, at least I do, I have to take my hand off, reach across the screen. I'm going on too long about the touchscreen stuff. Essentially what I'm trying to say is I haven't played enough of the game yet to totally judge it. But what I played so far, it's definitely really impressive. This is a showstopper for the Vita without a doubt. So there you go, guys. I actually just got Unit 13 in the mail for the Vita as well, but I haven't even taken it out from Amazon because it just got here like a half an hour ago. Look forward to playing that. I downloaded some games for the Vita as well, but this video is going on way too long. I'll have to talk about that at another time. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. The next games I bought recently video will be all retro games, so see you soon.